Giants fans, welcome back to another episode of Only a Giant. Happy to have you here. Happy holidays. Soon to be Merry Christmas, all that good stuff. Obviously, we're here, a little bit before Christmas, and yeah, we're kind of here in a weird spot. I think in general, as a Giants fan, we have Giants ownership, Giants PR, taking out podcasts, calling Bobby Skinner. We have Giants losing nine straight now, almost 10 straight. Just an embarrassing product on the field. We have planes flying all over MetLife Stadium on game day. Sounds like there could be another one as well. And it's kind of a mess, kind of a crazy time to be a Giants fan. A little, I don't know if embarrassing is the right word, as far as like the ownership side of things, going after content creators. I just feel like that's a really weird thing and not normal, to be honest with you. And I think probably most people can read into it the same thing that I'm reading into it. When they go after, or at least reach out to the Talking Giants guys, Bobby, and say, hey, take down this video specifically talking about should the Giants fire Joe Shane and Brian Daboll, kind of makes you think they're probably trying to keep Brian Daboll, trying to keep Joe Shane. I don't know if they can survive this, as far as that's concerned, because I just feel like I don't know if things are going to get better. The schedule isn't pretty as far as the Giants are concerned. This may be a somewhat winnable game, just based off the fact that they're now starting a rookie quarterback. But we still have the Colts coming up at home, it looks like. Or is that a away game? Whatever it is. And then we play the Eagles as well. I believe the Colts is an away game. Falcons are a home game, and the Eagles are a home game. Man, do we really have that many home games left? That can't be right, can it? Um, so kind of a wild time to be here. Um, yeah, man. Obviously, thanks so much for joining me. This is a fun time always to record these little episodes here. Obviously the season hasn't gone the way most Giants fans thought or expected and hoped. Right now at this point, there's really no point in doing much of a review of the previous game, although we'll talk about it a little bit. We'll talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about the game coming up here and just some other little things here as well. So I guess first thing we'll talk about the Ravens game. Obviously a kind of a shellacking, another game where our starting quarterback could not finish the game. He was out right before the end of half, and I don't know if you guys remember this. Kind of, the word was out that DeVito might be out. DeVito might be out. He might be in the locker room right now, maybe getting evaluated for concussion. As they're all walking off the field, I watched Brian Daboll go up to Tim Boyle and start talking to him, and they kind of walked together and talked. I think right there at that point they knew, hey, Tim Boyle, you're our starting quarterback here for the second half of this game. Tommy DeVito did a few good things here and there. I would say nothing earth-shattering, obviously. Nothing horribly bad as well, I suppose, but still just not willing to pull the trigger. There's a few throws that, man, just throw the ball. Get the ball out of your hands. What do you have to lose right now? I think you're losing more by not making those throws and trying to hang on to the ball too long than you are by just making that throw and kind of having that gunslinger mentality. So that was a little bit frustrating. And then kind of the weird thing, or I should say a weird thing that happened when Tim Boyle comes out at half and we get the ball. It's probably the best the offense has looked all year. We saw some throws that we probably haven't seen this year and probably haven't seen in previous years either. Right from the start, an out route to Malik Neighbors, and then you kind of get that little cover two breaker up the sideline there where he kind of, it was a weird throw, kind of like threw it sideways, and I was like, oh god, okay. So just some throws that you kind of, as a Giants fan, forgot about, completely, to be completely honest with you, since Eli. I know you want to talk about other quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, whatever, and yeah, Tyrod had a few good throws here and there, and he threw a little bit better with anticipation, and I'd be certainly happy with him right now. But we haven't seen that type of anticipatory throwing in years. years is really what it feels like. You see it here and there, once or twice. I feel like with Daniel Jones, a season. I feel like really not even once or twice a game. Once or twice a season. Um, but it was really kind of refreshing to see. It was probably the best this offense has looked. Um, Even the times where we put up more points, this was the best that the offense actually looked, I think, from a passing standpoint. Now, no, I'm not sitting here saying Tim Boyle was electric or the savior of this franchise. No, that's absurd. That's asinine. We're not saying that. Um, but at the same time, it was good to see. I was really hoping that they would give him another chance to start this week. Based off injury situations and everything. Obviously, Tommy's still in the concussion protocol. Drew's coming off an injury, but it was just recently announced that Drew Lock will start if Tommy clears concussion protocol. Then he will slide back in as the number two, and Tim Boyle presumably would be maybe the emergency three. I don't know what they think there. Uh, but that's a little sad to me. I really liked what I saw from Tim Boyle. Would have loved to give him another start. See what happens, and maybe if anything, this season has proven that we can't stay healthy. So, won't shock me to see Drew Lock get hurt again, or maybe if Tommy comes back, he gets hurt, and Tim Boyle's in here at some point in the next 3 games. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But definitely some throws that I really liked out of Tim Boyle, and even just the aggressiveness in general was something I really liked. Even if they got picked or something happens negatively there, just being aggressive, getting the ball up in the air, letting Malik Neighbors come down with a few. 4th and 1, throwing that slot fade to the end zone for a touchdown. It wasn't a perfect throw, but it gave Malik Neighbors a chance to catch it, come down with the ball inbounds, and we get a touchdown. So really good stuff there. Something I think I really liked seeing. What else with the Giants in that game? I don't know how much people really want to talk about it. So not much. Running back Tyron Tracy looked okay. Bellinger got a couple looks defensively. Brian Burns got a sack. Nothing else really jumped out. Lamar Jackson shredded us kind of as to be expected, I think. I thought they would run the ball a little bit more. I thought Derrick Henry would have a bigger game, and it turned out that Lamar Jackson just had all the time in the world, scrambled a little bit here and there, waited for people to get open, and delivered when he needed to. So that's all I really have about that game. I think I predicted like a 41-7 blowout, and I wasn't too far off. I think if you really think about it, we'll look at the Atlanta Falcons next, and it's kind of same thing. We will still at least look at the depth chart. We'll still look at the stats from the team, and I'll probably still do a prediction, but I'm not really going to get into the weeds with it too much because I don't think anyone really cares, to be completely honest with you at this point. So Atlanta Falcons depth chart. The big change, obviously, everyone's already talking about it here. The GM and coach were not committed at the beginning of this week to starting Kirk Cousins. And I think the minute you have that non-committal, and it happened with Daniel Jones, the minute you have that non-committal from a coach, I don't care what he says after that. I think it's a foregone conclusion that the backup's coming in or the other person's going to play. So they said, we're not committing to Kirk Cousins. He has to play better. We'll evaluate and make a decision later in the week. Sure enough, it might have even been the same day. Maybe the next day they announce Michael Penix Jr. is starting. Makes me a little excited to watch this game because I did like Penix a lot in the draft, although obviously very scared about the injury aspect of it. Everyone's kind of saying, "Oh, this is just another blight or another mark on Joe Shane." That now we're gonna see Michael Penix starting here over Kirk Cousins. I don't look at it that way. We got Malik Neighbors. We got the guy in this draft that we wanted. Obviously, yes, we wanted Jaden Daniels. We wanted Drake May, but those weren't available. So the next best one for us at that point was Malik Neighbors. We had the chance. We could have taken Michael Penix. Could have taken Bo Nix, who's looked decent. We could have taken JJ McCarthy, who's not healthy, but we didn't. And I think the plan all along was to give Daniel Jones a weapon, see what happens this year, and then move on if it doesn't work. And that's where we're at. So your starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, Michael Penix Jr., former Washington Huskies quarterback, Indiana Hoosier quarterback, and should be interesting. Should be interesting to see what happens there. Bijan Robinson, running back, Drake London and Darnell Mooney, and Ray and McLeod for your wide receivers. Kyle Pitts, who very talented, just hasn't been able to put it all together. And then your offensive line, left tackle Jake Matthews, left guard Matthew Bergeron, Syracuse alum, shout out. Center Drew Dahlman, not overly familiar with him. Chris Lindstrom, believe he's a Boston College guy, plays really well. And then Caleb McGarry is their starting right tackle. Defensively, Grady Jarrett, David Onyemata, Zach Harrison, Matthew Judon, backed up by Lorenzo Carter, former Giant, a guy that unlimited potential, just could never kind of do anything with it. Matthew Judon for one of the linebackers, Caden Ellis, who's kind of had a good year, Nate Landman, Arnold Ebiketie, and then your cornerbacks, AJ Terrell, who's been pretty good, Justin Simmons as a safety, Jesse Bates as a safety, one of the better safeties in the league, Mike Hughes, and D. Alford. Kickers at this point, Younghook Koo just got put on IR, so looks like they're going to go to Riley Patterson unless anything changes there. And then when you're looking at the stats for the team, obviously Kirk Cousins is a person you look at right away. Completing over 66, almost 67% of his passes for 3,500 yards. But 16 interceptions, not ideal. 18 touchdowns to go with it, but 16 interceptions. That's an extremely high mark, something that you don't want to see out of any quarterback, especially with only 14 games. 14 games, 16 interceptions makes you think he's going to throw 20 in the year. And that is quite frankly not good. He's also been sacked 28 times. Michael Penix on the year hasn't really done much. 5 attempts, 3 completions, 38 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. So will be really interesting to see him get going this year. Bijan Robinson, 1,102 yards, really actually getting the ball finally this year and looking pretty good when he does get it, averaging about 4.7 yards per carry with 8 touchdowns. Tyler Algier behind him has 114 carries for 551 yards. So this is definitely a team that's running the ball well, has a pretty good offense when they don't turn the ball over. And then reception-wise, you have Drake London with 78 receptions, 919 yards with 7 touchdowns. Darnell Mooney, 57 receptions, 800 yards, 873 actually with 5 touchdowns. And then a bunch of kind of other guys kind of mix in. Ray McLeod has 54 receptions. Kyle Pitts 40. Bijan has 54 receptions. And then just the immediate drop off. So you really have those 2, 4, 5 guys that you're looking at as far as your main target getters in this game. And those are going to be the guys you have to kind of look at and lock up, hopefully. As far as the defense for the team here, Jesse Bates has 3 interceptions with 8 passes defended. D. Alford, 8 passes defended as well. Interception-wise, that's your main guys. They have 9 interceptions as a team, but, kind of a mishmash after that 3 from Jesse Bates. Sack-wise, you have 4 from Caden Ellis, 2.5 from Grady Jarrett, 3.5 from Matthew Judon. Arnold Ebiketie has 4, and as a team, they have 23. And that's the Atlanta Falcons. Decent offensively, not great defensively. A team that, the Giants are not favored in this game, and the Atlanta Falcons are favored in this game, but probably a game that I would say, unfortunately, maybe that the Giants could potentially win. Points per game for Atlanta, they're ranked 21st in the NFL with 20.9, but they're also giving up 24.4 points, which is 25th in the league. So defensively, not great, I guess. Maybe a little. It's tough. They're a little bit better than average, a little bit worse than average in yards per game, a little bit worse in points per play. Yards, they're actually 18th in the league, but third down conversions are the biggest thing on defense. They're ranked 31st in the league, and that's probably their biggest hurdle or their biggest issue, I guess, with the defense. They're giving up 4.3 yards per rush, which is 13th in the league. 27 carries per game that they're giving up, which is 14th. And the yards per game is 13th in the league. Offensively for them, it's kind of a weird mix, I would say, where their rushing game is top half with the yards. The rushes per game, but the yards per game's middle of the road. Their passing game is kind of the same thing. So just kind of a weird game here where we don't really know a lot. We don't really know what to expect here, especially with Michael Penix coming in. Do they commit to the run a little bit more with him just to kind of get him comfortable? Yeah, maybe. And if they do that, this is going to be a cakewalk for the team. I truthfully think that this probably isn't going to be a pretty game for the Giants, and probably most Giants fans think the same thing. Prediction wise for this game, once again, I don't think it's going to be pretty. I don't think there's a scenario where we start popping off some games here and we start winning a few. I think fans would probably revolt if that happened. But I think this is probably a game where maybe not completely high scoring, but I would say like a 24 Falcons to 14 and New York Giants. Hopefully we can get some offense going here, but I don't think we're going to have enough to stop them. Defensively for us, and our offense isn't good enough to keep their offense off the field. So 24-14 Atlanta Falcons would be my game prediction for this game. Now, what else? And we kind of talked about this a little bit already, obviously, but the whole plane thing going on, 2 planes back-to-back weeks, sounds like they're from different people. One group did it the first week, a different guy did it the second week. Also, somebody that was on Talking Giants introduced himself as Miguel. I'm assuming that's not actually his name. That's just the name that he went with. Sounds like it might happen again this week as well. So something that we'll keep an eye on for sure. Giants right now, number 1 pick, number 2 pick, somewhere around there. Deion Sanders saying Giants are for sure taking his son, Shador, if the Giants have the number 1 pick, and maybe they will. Who really knows? A lot to go through at this point. We got to see what pick we actually end up with, whether it's 1, whether it's 2, whether it's 8. If we sneak a win in there somewhere, it's kind of crazy how much of an impact 1 win could have on our draft position in this draft. So if we win a game here, if we beat the Colts or the Philadelphia Eagles at some point, that could drastically change where we draft, which is interesting. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars may have. Let me look that up. Actually, I believe the Jacksonville Jaguars may be playing the Raiders may be playing the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. I wanna double check that right now, real quick. Weird calls, getting some weird calls here. So we'll see what happens there. I do want to verify that. Bear with me one moment here. It shouldn't be that complicated, but it is. We'll just go right into the sleeper app here, pick them, because I am in a pick 'em league. And let's look at the Raiders here. Raiders. Yes, so I'm right. So the Las Vegas Raiders are favored at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars at 4:00. So we'll know after the Giants game what happens with us, and that may be somewhat dependent on what happens with the Giants. And if they get a win, then probably a really good chance that we have the number 1 pick, but we won't really know that yet. What else, guys? I guess that's probably about it. And we'll see what happens. I don't predict a good game here for the Giants. Let's be real. But at the same time, anything can happen. Let's go Big Blue. We'll probably talk to you next week here. Once again, probably just one episode next week as well, until we kind of get into draft season and stuff like that, off season, talk about potential free agents, whether we fire our coaches and GMs. I'm pretty excited about the off season at this point, which is sad. Not what I want, but this is the reality of the situation. Let's go Big Blue. Love you all. Peace out. Enjoy the holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. All that good stuff. And let's go Big Blue. Thanks, guys.
My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice cold. I'm only here to even a score. Whoa. My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice cold. We're down right now, but did it before. Whoa.